I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wrenches in my top drawer of my snap-on box. I think I'm missing. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pliers in my bottom drawer of my snap-on box. Get ready to fix some cars. Get ready to fix. Let's go! Hey, what's up guys, it's MJ100K, and today I'm going to try to fix my friend's sister's Lexus GS 400 1999. So I'm imagining a lot of people will watch this video that aren't my subscribers, so you don't want to hear me jibber jabbering about the price of tea in China. So we're just going to try to stick to actually fixing this car. So anyway, spoiler alert, I did try to diag this last week, and I think it's the fuel pump, but I'm just going to walk through why I think it's the fuel pump. Okay, so with any vehicle repair, we want to verify the problem. I got it jumped to my car right now, so, but anyway. Okay, so you see it cranks, but it doesn't start. So, we verified the problem. It's got a lot of miles on it. It's just been my experience a lot of time these Toyotas and Hondas, their fuel pumps last a long time, but they don't last forever. So anyway, you heard it crank. It was cranking kind of fast when I first got here, so I thought it might be the timing belt being broke, but this car don't have a timing belt, because when you look behind, like any car, you look behind the regular belt here. If this area is like metal, like all metal, you know it's probably a chain back there, because it's metal, because the chain needs to be lubricated with oil, and if it were plastic, the oil would eat up the plastic. But if there was like a plastic cover back here behind this belt, you know it's probably a timing belt. So this car, all metal, timing chain. So timing chains rarely break, so I don't think this timing chain being broken. For my experience for no starts, it could be one of the following things. If it's cranking, obviously the battery and starter are working. It's cranking at a normal speed. The prime culprits are usually, it's either going to be lack of spark, lack of fuel, lack of compression, timing, or security codes. I had my friend's Lexus years ago. His wouldn't start, and it turned out being the key was bad. So for these cars, usually what happens is the key communicates with the car's computer, and they send each other codes every time the car starts. So I would just say, for example, I put the key in, the computer tells the key the new code is dishwasher, and so the key remembers that. And then the next time you put the key in there, it says dishwasher, and then the ECU says, okay, you got the right code. The new code this time is elephant. You know, it's not actual words, but it's just letters. But anyway, so anyway, if you don't have the right security clearance, it won't start. The computer will cut the fuel and or spark. So let's see, when we try to start it, you might see like a security light blinking or whatever, and I didn't see that, so I don't think that's it. So security's probably not it. In order to really diagnose that, you probably have to be at a dealership with a dealership scan tool. So we don't have that. But anyway, we got a regular scan tool. I hooked it up, and let's look at the codes. Evap, that's not gonna cause it to no start usually. O2 sensor, probably not. Turbine input shaft, that's for the transmission. That's not gonna cause it. O2 sensor again. Evap again. So I don't think any of these codes are going to cause a no start. The only code I've ever seen cause a no start, and it could be more, but the one I saw was I think it was camshaft position sensor was stolen a code because the timing belt had broke. But like we looked at before, this car has a timing chain and not a timing belt, and none of these codes look relevant. So I'm just going to think that the security is okay, and none of the codes are telling me anything. So we're going to look now at, I like to look at fuel with this guy. So if you put this on a fuel injector, every time it pulses, you'll get a little light because this is sensitive to movement. So every time I hit it, it makes that little light there. So if I have somebody else crank it, we'll see if the car's computer is sending out signal for the fuel injectors to turn on and off. Okay, crank it please. Okay, thank you. All right, so you saw the little light come on? That means the computer is telling the fuel injector to turn on and off. So that's good. At least we have a signal to the fuel injector. Now, I've heard old school mechanics say that you can put a stethoscope up to the fuel injector, but I could never hear the fuel injector clicking with this. Maybe you can. My hearing's not that good, but whatever. So we know we have the signal for the fuel injector to come on. Let's see, the next thing you could check is spark. I'm not going to actually do it because I already did this, but you can use one of these. You just pop this guy off, which I did last time, and it broke. The old cars, these things always break. Like this thing here, if I try to push this in to pull it up, this is probably going to break. So don't move any more stuff than you have to. Anyway, last time I was here, all you have to do is take this off. But this coilover pack is weird. Like, it didn't want to connect with this. Like, it's just a spring in there. So I'm not going to mess with it anymore. Normally, you'll see a spark in here. But like I said, I already did it last time, and I'm not going to do it again because with old cars, don't mess with anything you don't have to. So I already know the sparkers are good. The next thing I like to do is to continue the fuel issue, and what I'm going to do is take this off, and let me see. Do you mind holding this? Thank you. So let's take this. Okay, so what I like to do is use some starter fluid and spray it in there a little bit. See, when I use this will open the throttle plate a little bit. So I'm gonna spray it. Now remember, when we tried to start it, how it sounded, it was just like and nothing. So when I spray this in there, okay, now watch this. Okay, now guys, you heard that right. You heard it try to start a little bit. So the only thing we changed was adding some starter fluid. This kind of simulates some gasoline going in here. So what that's telling me is not actually getting fuel into the combustion chamber. So even though we have fuel injector pulse, we may not be getting actual fuel pressure. Now, if you really want to check the fuel pressure, you can use like a kit like this, and you have to actually like tee it off to get to the fuel pressure in most Asian cars. So I don't feel like doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the fuel pump itself. I'm going to see if the fuel pump is getting power. So let's do that. This is 10 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to show you about this. Okay, so this right here is a power probe. When it sees voltage, the red light will come on. When it sees ground, the green light will come on. So I don't have a wiring diagram for this car. I couldn't find it on the internet, but I'm looking at these 4 wires, and what I'm thinking is the 2 big wires are probably powering the actual fuel pump, giving it power and ground, and the 2 little wires are probably for the fuel level sensor. That, you know, it tells you how much gas is in there. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, these 2 bottom ones are the big wires. So I'm going to have somebody try to start the car, and I'm going to see. So they're both getting ground right now, right? So I'm going to see if it gets red on one of these when he's trying to start it. That means the power is going to the fuel pump. All right. Can you please crank it? See red? All right. Not stop cranking it. All right, crank it. All right, stop cranking. Okay. So what that's telling me is this wire here, this blue and red one, that's the power wire. The computer is sending power to the fuel pump, and as you can see, we're getting the other wire is grounded. Okay, so my diagnosis is I believe the fuel pump is bad because it's getting power and it's getting ground while you crank it. Also, when I put the starting fluid in there, it'll briefly start up, which should show me that it's getting some spark, because it wouldn't have started without spark. Now, just one note, never use starting fluid on a diesel vehicle because you will blow yourself up. So don't use that on any compression ignition engine. So that means diesel, it doesn't use spark plugs. So don't use starting fluid on a diesel. Also, don't keep spraying the starting fluid in there like, you know, it's going out of style. I saw somebody do that at the shop one time. They kept spraying starting fluid and they kept trying to start it, and the intake manifold was plastic. The intake manifold exploded. So don't do that. Spray a little bit in there, see if you get a little bit of a change. You know that you only changed one thing and you saw a difference in the way it was starting. So you know, don't go crazy with the starting fluid. Also, my assistant here, who has also been to tech school, he reminded me that for 8-cylinder car, like if it's lacking compression, it should probably be able to still start if 1 or 2 of the cylinders aren't working right, you know, like, because it's got 6 other ones. But if it's a 4-cylinder car, if you lacking 1 cylinder, it might not start. So from what we saw when we were starting it without the starting fluid, it was just evenly trying to start. But if it was like compression, usually it's like it's trying to start, so it's like you know, whatever, not just an even so anyway, we ordered the fuel pump. I'm going to try to change this now, and that's what we're going to try to do. We'll see if it starts. Okay, so the fuel pump itself, these bolts look super old and rusty. So I'm going to let some PB Blaster soak in there. They look like they're 8mm. So I'm going to let this sink in a few minutes, and then I'm going to try to hit it or open it. Okay, so first we want to disconnect the battery just so we could be safe. This is a 10mm. That's off. Okay, so we let the PB Blaster soak in there a few minutes. Let's try to get these 8mm off. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and gun these off. Hold on. And so I try to keep things in the same order, because old cars, like, you know, stuff, sometimes I just don't want to go back unless it was in the exact same place. So I try to be real delicate with old cars and put the bolts exactly back where they go. Okay, so for this one you got to get this clip off. You can use a couple picks. Be careful. I gotta put this camera down. I can't do this with one hand, sorry. Okay, so I just had to pull it with one hand here and kind of push it a little bit there, and it just popped out. So it's okay. I had put those two back on just so I could hold it in place a little better while I was trying to take that clip off. Okay, so that pops off. That out the way. Alright, hold on, I gotta do this with two hands. Alright, so we got it out. I just had to kind of push this into the side with one hand and pull it up. So I'm gonna take this off with this. Whoa. Alright, hold on. Okay, so I got this, and that goes there. We got to remember to put that back. There we go. Alright, that looks like it's still working. Alright, so here's the new one. Okay, so we want to line them up to make sure they're the same, make sure we didn't get the wrong fuel pump where they sent us the wrong thing. So it looks like they're the same, and so we're just going to put it on there like the other one is. That one will go. Need a little persuasion. I don't know why it's making that noise. Anyway, put the sock on, same as the other one. So let's try to put this thing back in the car. There we go. Alright. Let's see, anything we're forgetting about this thing. Okay, I think that's it. It's got a little arrow on it to show you which way to front. Hook up the battery and see if she starts. Alright, so when I hook up a new fuel pump, I like to prime it a few times to let it build up pressure. So I'm going to turn it on, off. Alright, here we go. Fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Woo! King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Woo! I love it. Alright, well there you have it, people. We're just going to let it run for a little while, charge up the battery, and put the back seat back on, and we're basically done. I love no starts. My favorite type of car, Diagnosis. Even though I've been out of the game for a while, I've been an engineer, and now I'm a friggin' handyman, construction man, businessman. I still love it. So yo, thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.